Peace Leute und was geht ab? And welcome to my next video. Today come two creepy stories. And now let go.
It was a car accident. Nothing particularly remarkable, but fatal nonetheless. You left behind a wife and two children. It was a painless death. The EMTs tried their best to save you, but to no avail. Your body was so utterly shattered, you were better off. Trust me. And that's when you met me. What happened? You asked. Where am I? You died, I said matter-of-factly. No point mincing words. There was a truck, and it was skidding. Yep, I said. I died? Yep, but don't feel bad about it. Everyone dies, I said. You looked around. There was nothingness, just you and me. What is this place? You asked. Is this the afterlife? More or less, I said. Are you God? You asked. Yep, I replied. I'm God. My kids, my wife, you said. What about them? Will they be all right? That's what I like to see, I said. You just died, and your main concern is for your family. And that's good stuff right there. You looked at me with fascination. To you, I didn't look like God. I just looked like some man. Some vague authority figure. More like a grammar school teacher than the Almighty. Don't worry, I said. They'll be fine. Your kids will remember you as perfect in every way. And they didn't have time to grow contempt of you. Your wife will cry on the outside, but will secretly be relieved. To be fair, your marriage was falling apart. If it's any consolation, she'll feel very guilty for feeling relieved. Oh, you said. So, what happens now? Do I go to heaven or hell or something? Neither, I said. You'll be reincarnated. Ah, you said. So the Hindus were right. All religions are right in their own way, I said. Walk with me. You followed along as we strolled in the void. Where are we going? Nowhere in particular, I said. It's just nice to walk while we talk. So what's the point then? You asked. When I get reborn, I'll just be a blank slate, right? A baby. So all my experiences and everything I did in this life won't matter. Not so, I said. You have within you all the knowledge and experiences of all your past lives. You just don't remember them right now. I stopped walking and took you by the shoulders. Your soul is more magnificent, beautiful, and gigantic than you could possibly imagine. A human mind can only contain a tiny fraction of what you are. It's like sticking your finger in a glass of water to see if it's hot or cold. You put a tiny part of yourself into the vessel, and when you bring it back out, you've gained all the experiences it had. You've been a human for the last 34 years, so you haven't stretched out yet and felt the rest of your immense consciousness. If we hung out here for longer, you'd start remembering everything. But there's no point doing that between each life. How many times have I been reincarnated then? Oh, lots. Lots and lots. And into lots of different lives, I said. And this time around, you'll be a Chinese peasant girl in 540 AD. Wait, what? You stammered. You're sending me back in time? Well, I guess technically, time as you know it only exists in your universe. Things are different where I come from. Where do you come from? You pondered. Oh sure, I explained. I come from somewhere else, and there are others like me. I know you'll want to know what it's like there, but you honestly won't understand. Oh, you said, a little let down. But wait, if I get reincarnated to other places in time, could I have interacted with myself at some point? Sure, happens all the time, and with both lives only aware of their own time span, you don't even know it's happening. So, what's the point of it all? Seriously? I asked. Seriously? You're asking me for the meaning of life? Isn't that a little stereotypical? Well, it's a reasonable question, you persisted. I looked into your eye. The meaning of life, the reason I made this whole universe, is for you to mature. You mean mankind? You want us to mature? No, just you. I made this whole universe for you. With each new life you grow and mature, and become a larger and greater intellect. Just me, but what about everyone else? There is no one else, I said. In this universe, there's just you and me. You stared blankly at me. But all the people on Earth, all you, different incarnations of you. Wait, I'm everyone. Now you're getting it, I said, with a congratulatory slap on the back. I'm every human who ever lived. Or who will ever live, yes. I'm Abraham Lincoln. And you're John Wilkes Booth too, I added. I'm Hitler, you said, appalled. And you're the millions he killed. I'm Jesus, and you're everyone who followed him. You fell silent. Every time you victimize someone, I said, you are victimizing yourself. Every act of kindness you've done to yourself. Every happy and sad moment ever experienced by any human was, or will be, experienced by you. Why, you asked me, why do all this? Because someday, you will become like me. Because that's what you are. You're one of my kind. You're my child. Whoa, you said, incredulous. You mean I'm a god? No, not yet. You're a fetus. You're still growing. Once you have lived every human life throughout all time, you will have grown enough to be born. So, the whole universe, you said, is just an egg of sorts, I answered. Now it's time for you to move on to your next life. And with that, I sent you on your way. We didn't mean for it to happen this way. Bottom line is, we made a mistake. But there's no going back now. The days, if you can call them that, have melted away into meaningless expression of life beyond our reach. Well, my reach. The others are gone now, leaving just me in this hell. It didn't seem like the best of ideas, sure, but in the moment, it was pure curiosity that drove us to investigate the light coming from the woods behind the apartment complex. Pure curiosity that made me follow them to get closer to something bright enough to be nearly blinding during the daytime. Pure curiosity that instilled a desire to extend my hand and, ever so carefully, touch it. It began to strobe, whatever it was, faster and faster. And then, everything was still. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Nothing moved, no birds chirped, no leaves settled, and no wind sighed through the trees. It was all very surreal. For a second, we thought we had killed the forest, but we quickly ruled that out when we found a couple of squirrels hovering in midair, appearing to have just jumped off the tree trunk. Time had stopped. We were all somewhat intelligent people, so hey, it wasn't that hard to figure it out. It was great at first, running and laughing through the stillness of rush hour, high-fiving the people who had been calling for taxis, and pretty much feeling invincible. It was like a dream come true, and for the first 15 minutes, we were loving every bit of it. That's when we started dying. was first. He was in the back of the group, so all we heard was a faint slump. And there he was, pale and still. By the time we figured out what was happening, Katie was dead too. It was the air. It wasn't moving. Just like the leaves in the forest, the air molecules hadn't budged. The only reason we were still alive was because we unintentionally forced fresh oxygen down our throats by walking. Sean had stopped just for a few seconds, had passed out, and died. All it took for Katie was for her to step into the vacuum left behind by the group's path to check on him, and the same thing happened to her. We panicked and took off down the street, running like there was no tomorrow. There was just 3 of us left, Jason, Ashley and myself. Jason kept saying that asphyxiation couldn't happen that fast, and Ashley cried as we ran. I didn't know what to think. We kept moving, not really heading anywhere specific, but just as long as we were moving, we were safe. There was no way to tell how long it had been, but it must have been over 10 hours of wandering. Somehow, we managed to arrive at one of the docks of the city's beachfront. The pier went quite a ways offshore, and I didn't even think about the consequences of running out of air out there. Maybe if I had, we could have... No. We were damned from the start. Jason led the way further out, hands in his pockets. But we all stopped short when we heard a loud crack. He slowly turned, a look of horror creeping onto his face. He opened his mouth to speak, but he was cut off by the rotten planks beneath him collapsing under his weight. He should have hit the water and swam back to shore. We didn't think about how dangerous our situation had become, how stupid it had been to go onto the pier. The name of the game had changed considerably in this twisted universe, and the water parted around his body seamlessly, forming a deep hole into which he fell. It was like nothing was there at all, like he was falling through air. We were already sprinting back towards the shore, and his screams followed us as he plummeted down into the dark. We were only 50 feet away from the hole when it suddenly went silent. Ashley went soon after that, but ironically enough, it was from panicking, tripping on the stairs to the beach and breaking her neck. I didn't have time to stop and mourn them. I didn't have time to do anything. I could only keep moving. I began walking down 3rd Street, looking at the people sitting frozen in restaurants, riding unmoving bicycles, walking to meet friends. I hated them. They were blissfully unaware of all that had happened. I wanted to stop and scream at them. I wanted to cry and beg for their help. I wanted to curl up into a ball and pray to God that I would wake up and it would just be another quickly forgotten nightmare. But I didn't do any of those things. I just kept walking. I must have been walking for a while because I ended up miles down the highway. I wanted to stop and face death and just let it take me, but I didn't. I wanted to sprint back to the water and wade in until I couldn't see or breathe anymore, but I didn't. I didn't do anything but walk. This is where I am now, presumably days later, walking off of the last of my energy, with muscles screaming for me to stop. If I do stop to rest or sleep, I'll die. I know that there's no way for me to get out of here now. Searching for this long has left me with no hope of being back in my real life again. I haven't made my decision yet on whether I'll be the one who ends it, but I imagine it can't be far off anyway. If only I had more time.
And this is the end and the finish from the video, the creepy stories. And we see us in the next video. So Leute, das war's dann auch schon mit dem Video. Lasst einen Daumen hoch für noch mehr solcher Geschichten und vergesst das Abonnieren nicht und vergesst die Glocke nicht zu aktivieren, dann bekommt ihr auch regelmäßig eine neue Benachrichtigung, wenn ein neues Video hochgeladen wurde. Und wir sehen uns oder wir hören uns im nächsten Video. Bis dahin, Peace.